Welcome back to Life Unfiltered. Today, my guest is Sarah Kamornick. Sarah specializes in strength training and nutrition coaching with an emphasis on taking a holistic approach toward creating a healthy lifestyle through behavioral change methodologies. Sarah's certifications include Certified Nutritionist, Certified Specialist in Change Psychology, ISSA Certified Nutritionist, Transformation Specialist, Certified Personal Trainer, Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist, Specialist in Exercise Therapy, Corrective Exercise Specialist, and Pre- and Postnatal Exercise Specialist. Sarah brings over 20 years of experience in education, which gives her the unique ability to apply her educational skills to her coaching practice. To find out more about Sarah and the work that she does, please visit the email link in the show notes. Enjoy. Before you skip, a word about our sponsors that make all of this possible. Today's episode is all about taking care of your body through movement, nutrition, and overall wellness. But there's one important part of your health that often gets overlooked, especially as busy women, which is our skin. And just like your muscles, your gut, your mind, your skin needs the right nutrients to care and stay strong, healthy, and luminous. That's why I'm so proud to be partnered with my favorite brand in skincare, Rescue MD. You've heard me talk about them a million times for a reason. Their products are designed with clinically proven, patented formulations and science-backed ingredients like Lapicol that nourish, protect, and support your skin's health, just like you support the rest of your body with smart choices every day. Because caring for your skin isn't just about how you move or what you eat, it's about what you put on the largest organ on your body, your skin. With Rescue MD, you can trust that you're giving your skin exactly what it needs. Their products are made for all skin types, especially great for rosacea and sensitive skin. My skin has never looked and felt better. I'm in my 40s, and not a day goes by that I'm not wearing my Rescue MD on my face and my lips, morning and night. Check them out at rescuemd.com and use code LLG20 for 20% off all your purchases in March. Sarah, welcome in today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. You came so highly recommended by somebody that I trust, and she was raving about you, just your approach to fitness, the way you approach health, the way you approach femininity, womanhood, all of it, all encompassing. And I knew you were the person I wanted to talk to because, as we know, and we'll talk more today, it's never just about like physically working out or, the actual things you're eating. It's such a embodiment. And that was what she really drove home about you. She's like, it's really, she gets it on a larger level. So I'm so honored to have you here and welcome in.
Thank you for having me.
So my first question, we're going to talk a little bit about your background, but my first question is, why should women care about working out? Why should anyone care about working out? They're busy, they're tired, they're nursing, they're exhausted, they're carpooling, they don't have time, they don't have energy, they don't have sleep. Why should they care?
Okay. When you're 90 years old,
Yeah.
you're going to look back. First of all, you're going to look back and say, I wish I was in that shape in 90 years, right? So that's just like, number one, appreciate what we have right now.
Yes.
Instead of tearing ourselves apart. One of my biggest pet peeves is how women speak to themselves. And we need to be kind to ourselves.
Yeah.
We need to be kind to our vessel. And I want to get into that in a moment. But also it's literally an investment. If I told you that I have the secret to anti-aging, if I told you that I have the fountain of youth, what would you pay for it?
Well, me personally, a lot of money, because all I
Yes.
do is obsess about
Okay,
fountain of youth.
perfect. So, and most of the world is that way.
Yeah.
And if you understood what strength training does for a woman, for her body, for her self-esteem, for the way she's going to age, it's priceless. So this is why I would tell any woman to strength train. It's literally an investment in your future self. The other thing that I love about it is that us as women don't realize how strong we really are. And
Do you mean physically?
physically, emotionally,
Yeah.
mentally, the power that we have when we produce life.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something crazy. My dad's a rabbi. And I asked him once, how come men have to wear tefillin
Yeah.
and women don't? And he said, men need to wear tefillin because it connects them to God, right?
Right.
Women, we produce life. The umbilical cord is like the tefillin, which because we produce life, we have a greater understanding of what it is to be connected to God. And I heard that and I was like, wow, we're so powerful. We have such a gift.
Yeah.
Like, let's tap into that,
Yeah.
right? One of the things that one of my pet peeves is when I have girls walking into my gym and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm so weak." We don't say that. That's a bad word. We don't say I'm so weak.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I'm going to be there, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Because the things that we tell ourselves are very important. The messages we tell ourselves, our soul hears them and it penetrates. It's very powerful. So the words we use have a huge impact.
I actually always say that to my trainer. I'm like, I'm so weak. I'm so weak. I have to
I
stop
would
doing
slap
that.
you. I have a crop in my gym just for that.
I heard about the crop.
Yes.
So it's interesting. I said, why should we care about working out? You actually changed it to strength training.
Yes.
Make the distinction for us.
So strength training is the fountain of youth.
Okay.
It's medicine. I would tell every woman to do it. You got to do it. Women are so afraid of getting bulky when they strength train. Now, yes, strength training does increase your testosterone levels, but this is important because it also increases our bone density,
Right.
helps build our muscle mass. But the thing that the act of actually getting bulky is really not genetically possible for women.
Right.
And now you're going to tell me, yeah, but what about those bodybuilders that I see on social media? So two things. Number one, a lot of them are taking things.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Right.
Number two, they are genetically blessed to get to that point.
Right.
Like I will never be a football player or a
Right.
basketball player. It's
Right.
just not in my genetics. I'm not built that way. The 1% or the 0.001% that is genetically predisposed to be built that way, yes, they'll get that way. But that doesn't represent all women.
Right. And even the 1% that gets that way, it's
Yes.
extremely hard.
And you know how
It's a
hard they
full-time
have to
job.
work? Yes.
They're eating
We have to eat so much.
hour on the hour, probably.
Do you know how hard it is to build muscle?
Yeah.
It takes a long
because
time.
I'm trying
Yes.
to do it.
Yes.
It's hard.
And it's not going to happen if we don't eat enough.
Yeah.
We got to eat
So
enough.
you really want to you're making the distinction between like working out versus strength training, and strength training being lifting heavy weight.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's the lifting heavy weights that has an impact on our hormones.
Okay.
So it increases our growth hormone,
Okay.
our IGF-1.
What does
so
IGF-1
that's
do?
insulin-like growth factor.
Okay.
And these hormones actually improve collagen production. So what if I told you that here you're getting your collagen? It improves your fat metabolism. So that's like a fat burner. Like when I have clients ask me about fat burners, I'm like, lift weights. This is your fat burner. Just do it.
Totally. I've heard that.
Yeah. So it really is the fountain of youth.
Wow.
And the beauty of it, and I've been doing this for 7 years, and I can tell you from my own experience, the beauty of it is that you're aging backwards.
Yeah.
Your body is getting better. It's like wine. Your body is getting better with time. But it requires consistency. It requires patience. It requires dedication. You have to keep going at it. And it's delayed gratification.
Yeah.
So there are so many lessons to be learned in the weight room. And if it's hard, it's building you. That's the thing. It's got to be hard. If it's too easy, it's not building you. And like to me, it's like a life lesson because the things in life that you think are going to break you, if you look back at your most difficult moments, those moments that you thought were going to break you is where you discovered the most about yourself. And that's where you truly grew the most. And that's what we see in the gym.
Yeah.
You know?
How does the daughter of a rabbi end up being a trainer, nutritionist, trainer, fitness, health? What's the journey there?
Okay, so I'll start. First of all, I'm the oldest of 10.
I somehow knew you were going to tell me you come from a big family. Okay,
And I have to tell you, I'm very blessed.
Okay.
My father is a rock star. Like he's like, or Rabbi Wiener. He's a legend Rebbe. He taught my husband.
Like he's not a regular rabbi, he's a cool rabbi.
Totally. I mean, he's amazing. I remember when I was dating, I was like, I want to marry a guy just like my dad. Like, and it sounded so cliche, but I really he's just one of the things that stands out is that he truly built our self-esteems as girls. Me and my sisters were five girls, 5 boys. Us girls, no matter what shape or size we were the hottest thing out there. We just felt beautiful and you get that from your dad, because he really made us feel that way.
Yeah.
Always. So I always joke that I had reverse body dysmorphia because I really loved my body no matter what shape or size it was.
It's interesting that fathers really have such a profound impact on early
They do.
Yeah.
Men need to tell their daughters that they're beautiful.
Yeah.
They have to do it Got to tell your daughters you're beautiful.
It's interesting. 'cause
Hearing it
it's
from a mom is not the same.
I know.
Yeah.
But, you know, like culturally, like in it, like in, you know, more conservative households, it's not so easy for dads to do.
They got to learn.
Yeah.
Got to learn.
Yeah.
Build strong
So-
women. It starts from when they're babies.
It really does. So 10 children,
Yeah.
wonderful dad, tells you you're beautiful.
Yes.
Link us up to today, like to 7 years ago.
Okay. So here's what happened. I'm a teacher.
Okay.
It's my passion. I love teaching. 11 years ago, I got pregnant with my son, and I had a very complex pregnancy. I was diagnosed with placenta previa,
Okay.
and I was put on mandatory bed rest for 2 months. And it was a very dark and painful part of my life. I felt very isolated. I'm a doer. I like to run around. I like to be busy. I like to work.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even sit upright because it would cause hemorrhaging. So I was stuck laying in a recliner pretty much for 2 full months. I had a few bleeding episodes. And the final bleeding episode, I wound up in the hospital. Well, each time I wound up in the hospital, but the final time that I wound up in the hospital, once I was there, thank God I was there, I began to hemorrhage. And it was a hemorrhage like I never understood what a hemorrhage was, but it was literally like a faucet had been turned on. And I beeped the nurses. They walked in and they were like, we're operating on her immediately. They operated on me immediately. But this is where it gets crazy. My uterus, I had lost so much blood and my uterus was not contracting. They were going to take it out. And I overheard the doctors talking. I was still lucid. And I said, please don't. And my doctor said, you know, if it doesn't begin to contract within the next 3 seconds, we don't have a choice. Thank God it did contract. I have 2 more kids since this story.
Wow.
But in the rush, they left a sponge inside of me. They sewed me back up.
With a sponge?
With the sponge. And they start counting. And they keep getting to 19. They needed to get to 20. And they called the x-ray team. Somehow the x-ray orders were canceled. It literally took 3 hours. This procedure that was supposed to be 45 minutes took 3 hours. The x-ray machine finally arrived. They found the sponge inside of me. But now there was an issue. My heart rate was so low that the anesthesiologist couldn't legally give me any more anesthesia. And so they opened me up without anesthesia. Wait, it gets worse. And at that point, it had worn off. Oh. Think about it, 3 hours later. No. My toes, I remember like my toes moving. And my anesthesiologist, my surgeon says, you know, I can't get her organs back in. She's too tense. She needs more anesthesia. Anesthesiologist is saying, no, I can't. And I'm laying there and he's like, I just need 30 seconds. And in those 30 seconds, I was like, you know, that friend that we were talking about, her mother-in-law, she's my neighbor. She came into my head.
I love her.
She's an amazing person.
Yes.
So I saw her in my mind and I thought to myself, what would she do? She would breathe.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me start breathing. I could handle 30 seconds. And I breathed through it.
What kind of breath work did you do? Deep, long ones, square?
Deep. I didn't know anything about breath work yet.
Right.
This was just intuitive.
You were just like...
Exactly. Just
big
calming,
inhale, big exhale.
Yes. Calming my body down.
Whoa.
And I felt every stitch. I felt them find the sponge. They sewed me back up. And thank God that was the end of that.
Oh my goodness.
I get home and I haven't been on my feet literally in 2 months. I was so weak. I needed help walking down the block. I remember like they said post-op, just keep walking, keep moving. And it was like a cruel joke because I can barely walk. And I remember needing support. And as I was walking down the street, I remember thinking to myself, I never want to feel this weak ever again. And I made it my mission. I'm getting emotional. I made it my mission as soon as I recovered to start learning about getting strong. And I went about this like first all the wrong ways. And I say wrong because really I learned so much from each of those experiences. The overtraining, I was doing Orange Theory 2-3 times a day. I wasn't seeing results. We've all done that. Like running myself, my knees to the ground, all that. So fast forward, by the grace of God, I got pregnant with my third. And once again, they told me, you have a very high chance of having placenta previa. And I told myself, okay, if I end up on bed rest, I'm going to I'm going to move every single day. I'm going to exercise every single day until the day I can't. And I did. And guess what?
You never got
I
placenta.
never got placenta previa. I was 10 days overdue. I worked out to the last day and it was a magical delivery. It was so healing. It was the exact opposite. I mean, I had like the presidential suite to give birth in. There was sunrise. I had like panoramic views of the city. It was like
Cedar Sinai?
Yes. I got so lucky.
I love that.
It just happened because this
Wow. So wait, movement is literally medicine.
movement is medicine, and it's not just physical medicine.
Right.
It's also mental medicine.
Of course.
It increases your endorphins and your serotonin levels. It's literally anti-anxiety, anti-depression right there in front of you. But you got to work for it.
Yeah.
You can't just pop it. You got to
Nope.
work for it.
Yep.
And that's really hard. It's hard to be that disciplined.
That's the part where I think women struggle.
Yes.
I'm bone aching tired.
Yes.
I don't have anything left to give.
Yes.
How do you want me to go lift heavy shit?
It's very hard.
Right?
It's very,
I'm
very hard.
thinking too about like, I work out a ton. Actually, we're even going to talk about that today because I work out and I think I'm maybe doing too much.
Okay.
I'm starting to notice inflammation. I'm tired. I'm
yes.
worn down. Okay.
That sounds
And
like overtraining.
I post my stuff. And like I'm a fitness girly in many ways. And I just think to myself, when I was having small children, could I have done this? I mean, I guess I always was active, but I also didn't have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Like I had one child at home. I had an 8-year-old, then I had another. When you have, you know what it's like.
Yes, I'll tell you. I actually have a client. She came to me for 10 sessions and she was very clear. She said, I'm working full time. I've got a ton of kids. It is impossible for me to get to the gym, but can I work with you for 10 sessions? You'll help me create a program that I can do at home with light weights and banded. Something is better than nothing.
For sure.
So if that's what you can do, do it. You can't, if you don't have access to a barbell, that's okay. Use free weights. Now, yes, it takes a tremendous amount of discipline, especially if you don't have somebody sitting on top of you. I get it. It's a very hard decision and commitment.
It's a discipline.
It's a discipline.
It's a self-love.
It really is. It really, really is. And yes, I know how hard it is. I mean, I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to have time for myself. I
used to
work,
do that also. Not 4, but early.
Yeah.
That's the hardest kind of discipline,
It is.
especially if it's cold and dark.
Yes.
It takes everything in your mind, body, and spirit to do that.
And you know how many times I hit the snooze button? Come on.
Yeah, you have to.
Right? Of course.
Wait, I want to go back 1 second. Why do you think the medical system is so obsessed with having us be still? Like, why did it take your own advocacy for yourself to say, I'm going to have movement to save this pregnancy or my health or my mental state? Why is the doctor's MO always, it's the safest route, but is it even the safest route?
So I'll tell you, I'm not a doctor, so I can't
Right.
answer that. However, what I can tell you as the consumer is do your due diligence, ask questions, do your research. A lot of drugs are administered without people doing their research and looking into side effects, long-term side effects, so on and so forth. I would have never had placenta previa if I had a miscarriage before my first.
Okay.
And it was early on where it could have passed naturally on its own, and most of it did. And I was told, we can give you a DNC just to, move the process along faster. And I didn't think twice about it. I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. I didn't realize that every DNC scrapes the uterine lining and it can cause scar tissue. And that itself can make it difficult for the placenta to find a smooth surface to attach itself to.
Got it.
And can raise your risk of having placenta previa. Now, I didn't know that. I didn't even think to ask.
Right.
But looking back, I'm realizing, first of all, I had to go through this. I learned a lot from it. It made me who I am today. But had I asked, I probably would have taken a different journey.
Yeah.
Where,
let's say someone's new to fitness. They're not, it's not been a part of their life. It's not been a part of their lifestyle. Where's the best place to start? Where does one begin in your mind?
set an intention.
Okay.
First, ask yourself why.
Okay.
Like really close your eyes and imagine yourself at 80 years old. How do you want that to look? Right?
I think about this all the time
Yeah.
because aging terrifies me.
Yeah.
And I also don't, being weak terrifies me.
Yeah.
Like I read when you got emotional about saying, I never want to be this weak again. I really felt that.
Yeah.
Because I have a big fear about being weak.
Yes. And feeling vulnerable.
Feeling vulnerable.
Yeah.
Not being able to lift groceries myself. Not being able to take
Exactly.
something up a flight of stairs.
Okay, can I tell you a story?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a client. She's my muse. She reached out to me after her first baby. And she called me up and she had gone through a history of yo-yo dieting.
Yeah.
And she reached out to me and she said, I cannot hold my baby and carry her up the stairs. I need help. So
Like she was just frail, thin,
she was so weak.
Yeah.
She was so weak. She was not eating enough.
Yeah.
She was doing, and I'm actually going to say the name, if that's okay. She was on this Optavia diet.
I don't even know it.
Oh, it's these like packaged snacks.
Oh.
You're on between 750 to 1100 calories a day, which is not, it's not sustainable.
Okay.
Let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
So, and when your activity levels go down and you're not eating enough calories, what happens? You lose muscle mass.
Of course.
When you lose muscle mass, you risk losing bone density. It's a whole spiral of negative side effects.
Osteoporosis.
So, exactly. And, people who are not eating enough are really setting themselves up for a frail aging process.
Yep.
And we don't want that.
Yep.
We think that we want to look a certain way, but we have to understand at what cost. We're only this age now in this moment, and it can go uphill or it can go downhill. And I believe with eating properly and strength training, you can actually go uphill.
Oh, I so agree. I think women get better and better and better with time.
Oh my gosh.
If they're taking care of
Yes.
themselves.
Yes.
You see it even, I mean, I hate to say celebrities, but you even see it with some celebrities that are taking care of
Yes.
themselves. You're like, they look better than they've ever looked in their 50s,
I was
60s.
Yes. I was walking down the street one day and I passed a cafe, and there was a woman. She must have been in her 60s or 70s in a tank top, and I was like, mad respect to those arms and those shoulders and that back. That took work. That was a lifetime of work, and it's amazing because
I
you
love
really
that.
it just refines you,
Yeah.
and chisels you.
So
So back to this girl.
she couldn't lift her baby.
She couldn't lift her baby.
God.
Worse than that, she did not feel comfortable looking at herself in the mirror. So she calls me up. She says, I'm ready. I'm like, okay, I'm coming over. First thing I'm going to do is take that box of snacks and I'm throwing it in the garbage. She wasn't ready. She's like, no, not yet. So I said, okay, let me know when you're ready. I came back a week later. She was ready, threw it out.
Okay.
She came into the gym. One of the most remarkable things, now I took progress photos of her. One of the most remarkable things I noticed between her first progress photo and the one 6 weeks later was that in her first photo, she couldn't make eye contact with the camera. And 6 weeks later, she was looking straight at the camera. There was a strength in her eyes. And it was a strength that she discovered in the gym.
Yes.
And when she started lifting, and she started lifting heavy, she's like, she fell in love with her body.
Oh,
And and I told her, I said, speak to your body. Your body hears you. And she started doing that. And, like imagine you look at your hand. I mean, try it.
yeah,
Look at your hand and notice what this hand does for you.
totally.
And take a minute to say, thank you. I love you.
God, I never do that.
We never do that.
I mean, I only ever talk shit to my body.
We have to change that.
Constantly.
You have to change that.
I know. Do you think it makes a difference in my workout outcomes? Because I'm
Well,
always beating
it makes
myself
a
up.
difference in terms of the stress that you're holding on to.
Yeah.
And more stress is more inflammation, elevated cortisol levels, belly fat. Your body doesn't digest as well. So you want to let go of that stress, and you want to be in harmony with your body.
Yeah.
Like if I asked you, who are you? And you really look deep inside, you'd realize I'm something that is so expansive. I'm so expansive. I have such a strength. I have such a power. I have so much to offer the world, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah. But
And
you do
now-
need to be strong to do that.
It takes a lot of
You
work.
can't
yeah.
do it in a weakened state.
Right.
Like you have to,
Well,
I think
no,
so.
sometimes it's in the weakest state that you discover that. In the weakest state.
Yeah.
Because then you look at yourself like, why am I here?
Right.
You know, there needs to be a purpose.
Is
You
this
ever
all
read
there is?
Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning?
Yeah.
In the depths of hell, people survived finding purpose and meaning. So we all have a purpose, and there's so much depth and there's so much meaning. And tap into that. And then look at your body from the outside. Instead of just a body, look at it as a vessel. It's a vessel that's here to help your soul accomplish something. And as such, let's treat that vessel with love, with grace, with respect. Let's be kind to it. Let's be mindful of the messages we tell it. Let's not abuse it. And when I say not abuse, I mean don't starve it, don't stuff it, right? There's two ways to abuse our bodies.
That's true.
Right? It also holds true with punishing ourselves with exercise. I've had girls call me and say, oh, I binged last night, I'm coming in. And I'll be like, no, you're not. We're not associating exercise with punishment. We're associating exercise as a privilege.
Yes.
You have the opportunity to nurture your body, take care of your vessel. In 20 years from now, you're going to have something strong because of the work you put in today. You're respecting your future self. You understand?
Totally.
Isn't that great?
What a reframe.
Right.
I mean, I had moments of my like youth, and I think every woman has gone through this where it's like, oh, I've eaten badly. I'm going to, punish myself
We've all
tomorrow
been
with
there.
working out.
We've all been there.
It doesn't work. Explain why that doesn't work. Because I know a lot of women listening do this.
Okay, so first of all, you can't out-train a poor diet.
Right.
Do you understand how many hours of cardio you're going to have to do to burn off that binge?
Yeah.
It's creating a negative behavior. And you don't want to create a pattern of binging and then punishing yourself with exercise. You binged, let's separate for a second. You're eating and you're exercising. You overate. Now is a new moment.
Right.
That moment happened. I'm not going to say tomorrow's a new day. I'm going to say now is a new moment because this happened this morning, but now I'm making better choices that serve my body.
Right. Because sometimes, and I know like for myself, when I had like a binging or something, if you say tomorrow's a new day, you could go on to binge for another 6 to 8 hours.
Exactly.
So you want to stop.
You want to stop that.
That was that right then,
Yes.
and this is right
and
now.
you want to stop that. You want to also pay attention to what your body's telling you. Pay attention to how your body feels after a binge.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good.
No.
Right?
Never.
Pay attention to that. Sit with it. Sit with that discomfort. Let that become ingrained so that the next time you feel like you're going down that track, you can veer off and hold yourself back. And it really is one of the hardest things to learn, to stop when you're satisfied, which is really the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, if I want to give you one easy diet tip, it's stop when you're satisfied. Let's keep it simple.
Okay.
You know?
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's easy. It's hard, but make that your one avoda.
I like that. Stop when you're full.
Yeah. And then we can add on other, slowly build up on that. But we're not going to build Rome in a day.
No. That's a good one. So we start with, where do we begin? We start with a mantra. We start with a mindset. We start with an intention for what we want for our bodies, rather than, I'm going to hit the gym 6 times a week. I'm going to make sure I walk X amount of miles. It's a headspace you want people to get in.
That's number one. Number 2, 5-minute action.
Okay.
Start with something small, 5 minutes. Don't expect something major. If you want to do, 5-minute banded workout on the floor in your bedroom for 5 minutes, amazing.
Yeah.
Do that. If that means going for a 5-minute walk after a meal, do it. Something small. Once you start with a 5-minute action and you start to see how your body responds to that, it'll become another 5-minute action and it'll slowly build up into something much larger.
Yeah.
But you have to be kind to yourself and you have to start small. We all know how it is. New Year's, everybody signs up at the gym.
Please.
And they've got all the resolutions and they're going to do this, and this. And everyone falls off the wagon because we're biting off too much. What if I told you strength train twice a week for an hour? 2 full body days, twice a week, you'll build muscle.
How would you how how many hours a week should women be strength training? Because I'm doing twice a week.
Aim for 2 hours twice a week.
Okay.
That's a really good place to be.
Okay.
That's sustainable. It's doable.
Okay.
You will build muscle.
And you want people to lift heavy things.
Lift heavy.
Weight.
That is what truly.
And they will not get bulky.
Oh, they will not get bulky.
It's so hard.
We all want to be tight
Yeah.
and we all want to be toned.
I do.
But when we hear the word toned, we don't realize that what that really is the creation of muscle.
That's right.
It makes you tight.
Right.
And muscle is more dense and weighs more than fat. So don't freak out if the scale goes up a little bit. A lot of people have this relationship with the scale where if it goes up, they freak out. There are a lot of factors involved. It can be, by the way, overtraining can cause inflammation, water retention, the scale will go up. If you have a meal later at night than usual, the scale will go up. If you have more carbs than usual, it's not fat, it's water. It will go up. If you have a saltier meal than usual, it will go up. If you go out to dinner at a restaurant, there's always extra hidden fats and salts and carbs. The scale's going to go up. That doesn't mean you gained a pound of fat. A pound of fat is 3,500 calories. Okay. So if you and I have this sometimes. I had a client, she, this past weekend actually, the scale spiked up 7 pounds.
Whoa.
And she was freaking out. I'm like, honey, it's fine.
You know, I don't own a scale.
Okay.
I don't even own one.
Okay.
It's just like,
yeah,
it feels like a
as long as you
negative thing.
Yeah. Right. So you have a negative association with it.
Yeah. Well, I just
right.
don't.
Yeah.
I know how I feel. What am I
Okay. So then if you don't need it, that's
Right.
fine. You just need some sort of way
How
to
do you
monitor.
feel about scales?
How do I feel about scales?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, here's the thing. It's a way of collecting data.
Okay.
We're measuring mass.
Okay.
That's what we're doing essentially. Now, there are some people who will weigh themselves multiple times a day. That's not healthy.
Yeah.
It's
How
not
often
serving
should
you.
one be weighing themselves?
It depends.
I had heard like once a week at the same time of day.
So
Is that wrong?
there's different opinions. Some people say that weigh yourself once a day.
Okay.
The studies have come out saying that has been a very helpful way to keep people on track.
Okay.
I have my clients weigh themselves every Tuesday and every Friday.
Okay.
I will never have them weigh themselves on a Sunday. I am not going to punish anyone like that.
We don't need that kind of negativity.
We don't need that negativity in our life. Exactly.
No.
Our goal is that by Tuesday, our weight is somewhat where we were on Friday.
Okay.
Then by the coming Friday, that the scale is lower. Now, did you know that a healthy rate of fat loss for women is about 0.5 pound to 1.5 pounds a week?
Yeah.
And sometimes when we're used to extreme diet culture, we expect that every single time we get on that scale, it's going to be down. And if we're used to that mindset, if we weigh ourselves every single day and it's going up and down, this is how it is. This is just how it is. It can mess with our heads. It can be very discouraging. So this is why I tell people Tuesdays and Fridays, if your mental health is okay with getting on the scale every day and it's not going to impact you in any negative way, then go for it. But if you're going to freak out because of it, stop.
Right.
And there are some people who, yes, should weigh themselves just once a week.
Right.
But that's every single person's different.
Let's talk about this trend of like people really having these great expectations about rapid weight loss. So a healthy weight loss for women should be 0.5 pound to 1.5 pounds a week.
Generally speaking, now, if somebody has a lot more weight to lose, in the beginning, it comes off faster.
Okay.
And that's typical and to be expected.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we feel about our new friend GLP-1s, which the weight loss is really coming off much quicker than that for a lot of people?
So I'm going to tell you, it's very nuanced. And if you're going to take this medication, number one, speak to your doctor first. A lot of people are just
they're getting it online.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speak to your doctor first. Make sure there are no contraindications for you. That's number one. Number two, do the research. Understand that there are side effects. There's nausea. There's constipation. There's diarrhea. There's dizziness. All that stuff.
Yep.
Decide if it's worth it. And for some people, it is.
Sure.
For somebody who has really struggled with their weight and they have this food noise that they can't quiet. And someone who hasn't gone through that, we can't understand or relate to that.
Can you talk a little bit more about food noise?
Yes. Okay. I'll give you an example. Imagine your finances are suffering. Okay. What are you thinking about every single time you have to swipe your credit card?
Money. Not enough money.
Not enough money.
Not enough money.
Is my credit card going to get declined?
Yeah.
What's going to be? How am I? My kid wants this. How am I going to pay for it? My son needs that. How am I going to pay for it? It's a constant buzz in your head, and you cannot quiet it. Someone who has this issue, this food noise, which is really, they don't have as much GLP-1 in their system as other people. That's really, it's a really physiological concept,
wow.
which is why there's no room for judgment in this. That noise is constantly buzzing in their heads. So imagine if you could shut that noise off, and without that noise of, when am I going to get my next meal? I'm hungry. What am I going to eat? Just completely preoccupying your time. Now that it's quiet, and this is the piece that people need to understand. Now that it's quiet, I'm going to build healthy habits that are sustainable so that when eventually I wean myself off of this and I'm at my goal weight, I've created a lifestyle that supports my health and my nutrition. Now, if you are just turning off your hunger hormones, right? You're not hungry anymore, right? You don't know when you need to eat. And you're not eating enough, you're not getting enough protein, and you're not lifting weights. The problem is that people are not being taught this. So they're not eating enough, they're not strength training, and they're losing muscle mass. And muscle mass is like our gold, we need it. It is so precious. After the age of 30, women lose between 3 to 8% of their muscle mass every decade.
Like even under the best of circumstances, muscle is hard for us to hold on
It
to.
is so hard for us to hold on to.
Outside of the fact that we're going to take
as soon as
something-
menopause hits
Right.
and perimenopause hits, it's so hard to hold on to, and it increases our insulin sensitivity. It increases our estrogen, testosterone, all the hormones that we need, our collagen production. All that goes down. So why would you want to sacrifice your muscle and your bone density? We all know what happens when people who are older and frail fall, right?
Well,
we need to.
I'm seeing a large wave
Yes.
too of young. And by the way, this is I actually love your perspective on GLP-1s, right?
Yeah.
Like, and for anyone who doesn't know what a GLP-1, it's like Ozempic, Mounjaro, all the weight loss drugs now. I love your approach. I do think there's place for it, and
Yes.
it's a miracle for those who need
100%.
it. I also hear for women with PCOS, it's incredibly beneficial because it helps with inflammation.
Yeah.
And like it helps with that inflammation going on so that they could start to like
There are so many studies
Right.
coming out
yeah.
about the benefits.
Yeah.
And I would say pay attention, because there are also going to be studies coming out about the problems that arise when it's abused.
That's what I'm talking
Yes.
about now, is that there's a lot of the new studies, the more recent studies, because we have, a year and a half, a little bit more information, is that a lot of the weight loss that's being lost is muscle.
25 to 40%.
My God, that's a huge number.
It's a huge number.
So and
How
not
can you
just-
mitigate it? So
Right.
here's the thing.
So how do we-
How
yeah.
to mitigate it? If you're doing it, please work with a nutritionist.
Yeah.
Work with a dietitian.
You have to get the calories
You
in.
have to get the protein in to
Yeah.
protect your muscles.
Yeah.
You need to get the protein in.
Yeah.
Strength train. You have to.
Yep.
It's literally going to counteract the negative side effects.
Yeah.
So those are two things that you have to do if
Okay.
you're going to be on it. I'm telling you,
Non-negotiable.
please, 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 I beg of you.
Yep.
All the women who are on it, I know plenty.
Everyone I know now.
Yeah, but please, please do it for
Yeah.
your future self.
Yeah.
Because you might be skinny for a moment, and then as soon as you're off this drug, if you haven't learned how to properly eat, you're gonna gain it all back.
Of course. And
So-
you'll
and
have
if
the
you
fat
haven't
and you won't have the
created-
muscle.
Exactly. Now, our brains are amazing because they're constantly evolving and changing. And one of the issues with people who are struggling with obesity is that their brains are wired to eat a certain way and to behave around food a certain way or to have a certain level of activity. Now that all that is shut down, it's quiet. It's like when your kids are asleep, you get your best work done, right?
Your brain can start to
Now,
function.
now you can create new neural pathways where you now understand how to structure a balanced meal. You're learning how to move properly. You're learning how to develop those skills and be consistent. Now that you're not so preoccupied with food, maybe you'll have more time to go for a walk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things
I love
like that.
I love that whole
Yes.
perspective.
So speak
'Cause
to
it's
your
here,
doctor.
and
Yes,
it's not
it is here and it's not going away.
It's not going away.
And it's
Right.
just the use of it is going to keep going up.
Okay.
So we have to, it is what it is. Let's work with what we have. And it could be a huge blessing for a lot of people.
Yep.
You know, obesity in America is what percent at this point? 42%? Like a staggering number.
It's climbing to our divorce rate.
It's pretty bad. It's
Yeah.
pretty bad.
Soon everyone's, half the world, half of the U.S. is going to be divorced and obese.
It's scary.
Dangerous combination.
It is. It really is. It's really dangerous.
Wow.
And, yeah.
So I really love that. And I think that's a really good perspective because I think we're in a new world now, right?
Yes.
Like it's so vastly prescribed. It's so easily attained and people are getting such drastic results. And we are in a country, world, society, time where people are obsessed with being skinny. Skinny is the goal. It's like, it's like when you get to the end of the yellow brick road, it's like skinny. All the women want to be skinny.
Okay.
The emphasis is not, I mean, or is it, you don't agree?
No, I do hear it a lot.
Maybe your
No,
clients are
I don't know.
healthier.
I'm like in a zone where it's like,
That's so foreign to you.
I want to be strong.
Me too. But I got to
But
just tell
strong
you.
comes with
I want to be fit.
I want to be fit.
I don't want to be skinny. I want to be fit.
I want to be strong. I want to be able to hold my babies. And I want to be able to pick up my grandbabies.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go hiking with my grandchildren.
Yeah.
And if I'm not taking care of my body today and I'm not giving my body the nutrients that it needs today, I can impact that. I can slow
Forget
that
today.
down.
I have mom friends who cannot hoist like a stroller with one hand, one baby, and go upstairs. They couldn't physically. They need to ask a man to help them.
I have a grandmother who works with me, okay? She has 9 grandchildren, and she just went to Israel. And she told me, she was like, I picked up 2 70-pound suitcases
I love that.
by myself.
Hell yeah.
She's like, I'm stronger than my husband. She was so proud. and she was just going on. And mind you, she hip thrusted yesterday 210 pounds.
Wow.
Grandmother.
Wow.
Yeah, 210 pounds.
So let's go into like diet and nutrition really quick because I think we're in a time and place where I can tell you that probably whereas most women think the issue is that they're overeating, I actually think a larger issue for women is that they're not eating enough.
Correct.
And or they could be eating the wrong things. But I generally think from the women I know and their busy schedules and how they run their life, and I just know how busy women are. We know they're not eating enough. Could you talk more about that?
Okay. We need food.
Yeah.
We need to eat. You know, I remember when I personally, because I went, before I became a nutritionist, I went through my own journey. Okay. And it really aligned with my fitness journey because as I started to get into fitness, I started asking questions, I started studying. I got one certification, then another, because I have a lot of questions and I want to know. And you got to keep searching, got to keep learning.
Yeah.
So one thing led to the next. And I was like, with proper nutrition, you get better results. Started learning about nutrition. And after my initial nutrition certification, I realized that as much as I understood nutrition, I wasn't understanding human nature and the nature of behavior change. So that's why I got a second nutrition certification through a different school that really focused on the psychology behind change. And that was really helpful. But anyway, what I learned was that we need to be eating more of the right foods and less of the highly processed stuff. One of the things that I learned was that the rainbow is indicative of different vitamins and nutrients, and we need to be eating the rainbow every single day.
Right.
Have that big salad every single day.
Right.
Have that protein. Carbs are not bad for us. Right. Women are so scared of carbs. We need carbs. Yep. We need it for the fiber. We need it for our hormones and our moods.
And energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's your body's preferred source of energy.
Right.
So once you start to learn how to eat and you start to feel energized. And it's crazy. It's pretty trippy because I actually recently just started working with a girl she's a very thin girl. And her main issue is she's such a busy mom that she forgets to eat.
That's what I'm saying.
And she's like, I need you to text me and tell me, go eat breakfast now.
Yeah.
And she's been doing this. And she's a small girl.
Yeah.
And she's blown away because she actually lost 1.5 pounds.
Of course.
Eating more.
That's what I'm saying. I think that a lot of women think that the key is eating less, but it's eating more.
Right. So here's the thing. When we think that we're eating less, what actually ends up happening is because we're so hungry, we start snacking. So we might think I barely ate anything today. The calories do count. And those snacks, those licks, bites, and tastes, they all add up.
Yeah.
And not only that.
And they never fill you up.
Have you ever tried fasting a whole day and then eating at night? what happens?
I could barely eat.
You could barely eat? Okay. So
yeah,
what most
well,
people,
I eat a lot, but I get full very, very quick.
okay.
Like after a
so
fast.
a lot of people, like after a fast, because they're so hungry, remember your body's an animal.
Right.
So your body tends to take over, especially if you're holding it on too tight of a leash.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like being too restrictive.
Yeah.
When the leash is too tight, you're going to rebel, right?
For sure.
With everything in life.
Of course.
So that's how it is. So what happens is suddenly there's food. It's like food. And you will start to eat
I need
way
it
more.
all.
Yes. And you're thinking, well, I didn't eat anything today. I can afford it. But you end up eating more than your calorie budget.
Right.
Because you're so hungry. So that ability to be able to control yourself subsides, which is why you're better off having a nice large breakfast.
With all the things.
Yes, with all the things.
Toast, whatever,
Yes,
protein.
I had 3 eggs and 3 slices of Ezekiel bread today.
That's what I had.
It was so good. I enjoyed every
put peanut
bite.
butter on that fried too.
I had butter on it.
Love it.
But it was great.
Okay. Okay, wait. So you had 3 eggs and 3 pieces of Ezekiel
Yes.
bread this morning? Is that like a
That was
typical-
besides for my double protein shake.
Oh, so I didn't do my shake
Yeah.
today. So how do you feel about protein shakes? You a fan? I always feel like...
You know, I'll tell you, it's a great tool.
Okay.
It's a great tool. If a mom is in a rush,
Yeah.
See, we can't be so black and white. It's like the GLP-1s. Like, it's a tool, and some people really need it,
Yeah.
and some people really benefit.
Yep.
And when we start going down that rabbit hole of this is good, only this is good, don't do any of that, then suddenly it becomes it's become so difficult that people just throw in the towel. I can't do it. I'm a busy mom. I need to be able to have my protein shake. I don't have time to sit and make myself.
How many grams do you put in your shake?
So I put in 30 grams.
Okay, so,
Yeah, so it's like-
mine is 24 and 24, so it's 42. Is that too much protein in one
No.
sitting? Okay.
fine.
Because I always feel like with the protein shakes, is it your body's preferred source of protein? And it's
Listen,
a lot of chemical byproduct, isn't it?
So my feeling is that the cleaner it is, obviously,
Yeah.
the better.
It's supposedly
But
clean,
again-
but doesn't it? I mean, it's a protein powder. How clean? Like, do you think it's like a really pure form of protein? I know everyone drinks them. Everyone, you have to. It's the only way to
Okay,
get
so
your
can I
protein.
tell you something crazy?
Yeah.
Cooking a potato is processing it.
Right, that's true.
Putting salt in food is processing it. So
Right.
the word processing is very much thrown around, and then people are just afraid to eat.
Right.
Like, we have to stop fear-mongering food. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So for some people, I would tell my clients, if they're gonna have a protein shake, see how your body feels. For some people, it can cause their stomach might be a little uncomfortable.
Well, I hate it, and I get like a little nauseous after, but I have to. There's no way. Okay, let's talk about protein and how there's all these posts on Instagram and all over the internet and all over social media. Like, I had to quit my job so I could focus on eating enough protein every day. Like, there's jokes about it, there's memes about it. People think I'm crazy because I always talk about this protein. How much protein do women need to be eating a day?
About 0.65 grams per pound of body weight.
Oh, so I heard that it was 1
Oh, because you're trying to
gram.
build muscle.
Right.
Oh, you're trying to build muscle, about 1 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight.
So if you're
So
just
that's
trying
why-
to
yeah.
maintain
If you're trying to maintain, you're good with 0.65 grams per pound.
0.65 grams per pound on your body.
Yes. Now, if let's say someone's overweight, do it based off of your goal weight.
Got it.
Yeah.
So essentially you're almost close to eating your body weight in protein.
Correct.
Every day. How many women
I
do you
like to
think are
say that,
doing
right?
it?
So I like to say, it's just that it's an easier number to remember.
Yes.
Just aim for a gram per pound of body weight if you can.
Right. Like
know-
1 per 1, you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Right. 1
Now-
gram.
Yeah.
And so like a typical egg will have 6 grams?
Yes. And then you can add egg whites.
Right.
Egg whites add a lot of volume,
Okay.
very filling, a lot of protein with not as many calories. Don't throw out the yolks. In general, people are afraid of egg yolks.
The egg is the best.
That's all. There's
possible
vitamins
food.
and nutrients.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh no, I love my whole egg.
Good.
Okay, wait. So how many women do you think are eating their weight in protein every day? The same
Not
amount they could do a
enough.
pull-up?
Not enough. Yeah.
Like 1%
Yeah.
of women?
I track everything for myself.
Yeah.
When I work out, I have a notebook. I write down my weights. I watch how my strength progressively gets stronger because that's what you want.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're in a solid program if the
Yeah.
weights keep going up.
Yeah.
Because it's called progressive overload. That's the
Right.
magic of strength training. Now, I know that when I'm in a deficit, my numbers go down. And I track it all. When I diet, when I'm in a deficit, and it's like if there's an event, I'll be on it for 2 to 3 weeks. It's like you dive in, dive right out. Don't stay in there too long because your metabolism will adapt. Your metabolism is very efficient. A lot of people say that their metabolism is broken. It's not. It's working to save you. And if it's starting to notice that you're not getting enough fuel, it's going to find ways to downregulate the activity levels to make sure that
You're not expending more than you're taking.
Exactly, because it's on a mission. It's keeping you alive. That's its goal.
Right.
It's evolution, really.
Right.
If you think about it. So if you're going to be dieting, I was just speaking to a client of mine yesterday, and thank God she's losing weight really nicely. I always ask my clients, how are your anxiety levels? Because they will increase over a prolonged period of dieting. How's your sleep? How's your libido? How's your energy? All that stuff is super important.
Indicators.
They're indicators. Now, if you're in too long, those things are going to start to tank. So you have to pay attention. What happens then? A lot of people will be like, well, lower the calories even more. I'm like, no. Diet break. We're going to give your body a little break. We're going to up your calories to maintenance. Show your body that there is food around. You don't have to hoard everything. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're not one of 10 kids who doesn't know if there's going to be a slice of pizza if you went to the bathroom.
Or one of five.
Or right?
We all know that feeling.
We know that feeling, right? Like, I can't leave the
never
table.
enough.
Exactly. So you're going to have food.
Yeah.
And when you find that your sleep improves, your anxiety levels improve, your energy goes up. And this is what I'm telling you about tracking my workouts. When I start to notice that my numbers are going down, okay, now it's time for a diet break. Get back up. Shoot right back up. It's amazing. So that is what I would find is a very helpful strategy when it comes to dieting that will not cause as much metabolic adaptation.
Okay. Are you a fan of diets?
Well, the word diet just means how we eat.
Right.
Right. I mean, animals are on a diet.
Right.
And plants are on a diet.
Right.
And we're on a diet. I think that we associate the word diet with something very negative.
Like restrictive.
With restrictive, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
It can be balanced.
Yeah.
80% of the time, eat well, eat nutritious, high fiber, healthy carbs, protein, clean, fruits and veggies. If you have that 20% wiggle room, once in a while, you want that Danish, have that Danish. Enjoy
how often
that
is
Danish.
once in a while?
That's what I'm telling you, 80-20.
80-20.
Yeah.
That's a good ratio.
Shabbos, I have my Danish. I have half a Danish from Mensch with the cream cheese on top.
Oh, yeah. That's a good
Oh,
one.
those are amazing.
I know.
And that is my Shabbos treat.
Okay.
And I have half of it.
So,
and I enjoy every bite. And I have zero guilt.
But that still feels pretty like half a Danish a week. I mean, that would make me stressed. Do you eat junk?
So I'll tell you,
You don't crave it anymore.
I don't crave it anymore.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there are certain things that are what I call trigger foods. I love savory.
Yeah, me too.
So there are certain things that I know that for myself, if I have it in the house, I can finish, those Chipotle chips from Trader Joe's? Mm-hmm. I can finish a bag.
No problem.
No problem.
Serving for one.
And just so you know, these processed foods were made to be that way.
Yeah.
Everything down to the crunch, down to the color, down to the seasonings are there to just appetize you. Just get your palate excited, get your brain excited. Yeah. So it's created in a way where once you start, it's very hard to stop. And you have to know which foods are your trigger foods. If there is a certain food that is a trigger food for you and you feel like it's going to derail you, don't bring it into your environment.
Don't bring it in.
Yeah. That's a whole other subject, environment.
Yeah.
Whatever's in our environment, we absorb.
Yeah.
And that's the rule for everything.
Yeah.
It's not just the food we eat. It's our social circle. It's what we expose ourselves to in the media. You absorb that and it affects you. So you have to ask yourself, does this align with my goals or is this going to throw me off track? And if it throws you off track, you might be best off removing it from your environment.
What's your relationship like with social media? Speaking of toxic environments.
Okay, so I will tell you my story, my feelings, and there are many people who make a lot of money on social media, and it's a way of promoting their business, and there's a purpose for it. But what I've found with myself, I had a video. I was very active on social media at one point. I had a video that went viral. I got about 2 million views, and I went from like having 25 followers to 2,000 in literally 2 days type of thing.
Yeah.
And the dopamine spikes
Yeah.
from all those likes. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep.
Whoa.
I was wired.
Are you a highly sensitive person? HSP?
Very.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just so wired.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that there was a correlation between those little red hearts, which are red for a reason, and my lack of sleep.
Whoa.
So I wasn't thinking much about it at that point. I noticed. And then I was on it for a while, I would say about 2 years. And I got a screen time report. It was very sobering.
I get one of those every Sunday, and I wish it sobered up me enough to make
Well,
a change.
it was pretty sobering. I was pretty mortified with myself
Yeah.
when I saw how many hours I was spending on social media. And then I started to realize, like, if I multiply that, like, how many years of my life am I giving away to, like, a vampire? It's like sucking my time away from my kids and myself. I know. I'm telling you, this is my experience. I'm not telling anybody else what they should do.
I know. Well, the reason that I ask about it is because my algorithm, for some reason, decided that I really, really want to see very, very young, tiny, skinny Pilates girls in skimpy outfits doing Pilates. I have to go, and people don't know this, but you can go inside each thing and say, I'm not interested, not interested, not
Oh
interested.
my gosh, that's so much work.
So, but I do it.
Okay.
Because my feed is I'm bombarded with very young, very tiny, very like skinny women doing Pilates or yoga. And it really messes with my journey
Yeah.
to like for what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
In the way I'm trying to feel. If you're a woman and you're alive in this century, you're having a hard time, right? We have GLP-1s, we have social media, we have the fashion industry, we have media, we have retail. Everything in our environments is sort of saying like, this is an ideal shape, this is an ideal size, this is an ideal weight, this is what we deem to be beautiful, attractive, sellable, marketable. You should look like this. And I'm absorbing that all day. And if you're on social media, I don't even care if you're following body positivity accounts.
Yeah. You're going to see all of it.
It's still, and also, even if you're following body positivity, it's still like weight, body, weight, body, all day.
And there's so much misinformation out there.
That's the other thing.
Yes.
So it's like, so you must be like, you don't even have that be a part of your world.
2 years ago, February 14th, Valentine's Day, I sat there at the computer because you can't delete it from your phone. You know that, right?
Really?
You actually have to get onto a computer,
That's
web
right.
browser.
That's right.
They make it so hard.
I know they do.
And it was a really, really, I'll tell you, you just give us the hands. So we stop, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Don't worry. Okay. You keep going.
So I remember this was like the final push. I was working out in the mornings, filming my workouts, spending hours editing what I was posting. So instead of having breakfast with my kids, I'm busy on my phone.
Yeah.
A whole day, the boom, 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 dopamine spikes, dopamine spikes, dopamine spikes. Then I started to realize that instead of living in this moment, every moment became another reel. So in other words, what does that mean? A woman called me up. What should she do about her daughter? She wants her daughter to lose weight. And that's a whole other conversation we can talk about another time, how to coach parents in regard to their children.
We're going to have to have a follow-up.
We're going to have to have a follow-up.
Because honestly, the whole coaching children and
It's
really what our
huge deal.
children, look what we're exposed to. And I'm an
Yes.
fully developed adult brain.
Let's put that on the back burner because I have
Okay.
a lot to say about
Guys,
that.
we are going to have
We're
a
gonna
part
have to have
two
it,
about children,
nutrition.
weight,
Yes.
nutrition, health. Okay.
Yes. Okay. She's talking to me. She's telling me the story. The next day, I'm davening. And the entire time that I'm davening, I'm like, this is going to be a bomb reel. I can't wait. I'm going to put this whole conversation and da. And I suddenly it was very humbling.
Yeah.
I was suddenly like, who am I becoming? Am I connecting with me, the real me, or am I getting fragmented and losing a part of myself to this app? So I called my husband and I told him, I think I'm going to do this. And he's like, okay, well, what are the pros? What are the cons? And I said, well, the cons are that, it's a great way to advertise my business. I got a huge clientele from social media. This is how people knew what I did. I would always direct them there. And I'm going to lose out on that. So he's like, money comes from Hashem. Okay.
Yeah.
Forget about that.
Yeah.
What's the pro? And I said, I really want to improve my relationship with God, and I want to improve my relationship with Hashem, with myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is creating a distraction. So he said, okay, do it. I kid you not. When I hit that delete button, I literally felt a physical burden lift off my shoulders. It was like I could breathe. And I've never looked back. 2 years. And it's been the most incredible journey.
Good for you. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Good for you. You've given me some real food for thought on that.
Yeah.
So, in closing, I want to ask you this. What's something you wish you could tell every woman right now that you really wanted them to know, feel, believe about their health and their body and longevity?
Look inside of yourself. Take a moment to connect with you, who you really are, your power, your strength, your beauty, your energy. And then with that, love the vessel that you're in. Come to love that vessel and nurture that vessel. Let it come from a place of love. And start with something simple. Give yourself, have a salad every day. Start small. Go for a 10-minute walk. Start with that. But let it come from a place of recognizing how infinitely powerful and amazing you are in this vessel that you have that's containing you, how precious it is. Okay, let it come from that place, a place of self-love, but real self-love, not for what we have on the outside, but for who we really are on the inside. My hope is that women can come to fall in love with themselves. That's my hope. Because we really are powerful.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
You're welcome.
Thank you for today. I love your reframes. I love your perspective. It
Thank
felt
you.
for me like, I think in a sea of a lot of noise for women around bodies and health, we need some more advocates and coaches and soft voices. A lot of the articles and the blogs are like, we need to do more. And I think we're doing more. We're doing a lot. Women are doing a lot.
Yeah.
And we need some gentle voices.
We need to slow down and we need to be present right here, right now. Feel it, experience it, notice it, and then take action.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.